But I think that's a very good defense. And the other, of course, good defense is that we've had such horrendous hurricanes the last several years without any weather modification in the past 30 to 35 years. You sure can't blame a weather modifier for causing damage. The other governments are using weather control for many purposes. And Indonesia, for instance, Canada, Turkey, Greece, Russia, they're all using weather control to their benefit. And we aren't. Well, for several years, the Russians have had weather control product as one of their national goals. They're using weather control primarily to protect the large sites, or the sites where large numbers of people are congregating for celebration. So, such as in Moscow or Stalingrad, when they have these big military events there, or parades, so forth, they bring their cloud seeding people in, and their objective is to keep it from raining or to knock the clouds down. And it's not just the Russians that do that. Our company, for instance, does the same thing in Calgary every summer. The idea is to keep the hailstorm and the heavy rain down so that the construction business can flourish. It's a contract we've had for 9 years, and every summer we send 2 airplanes up there, or whatever it takes. And their only mission is to prevent hail and keep weather from doing damages in the city limits of Calgary.
You've obviously been successful.
Well, obviously, yes. It's just one of those things that we know how to do, and since the government hasn't done it, the corporate people in America have just built the instruments. They've installed them in their airplanes, but we have to be just as sure of what we do as the government would like to think they have to be. The men, the materials, the aircraft, and all of the other support equipment you need are available today to reduce the damages of hurricanes very significantly, and I'm talking significantly as being more than 35 or 40%. The roof doesn't lift off the house until about 105 miles an hour. If you reduce the damages in hurricanes by 35 or 40%, you're going to save 90% of the damage that's done by them. Because once you get down below 100 miles an hour, there's not a whole lot of damage occurs from the winds and hurricanes. The tack they've taken is that they're willing to spend money they haven't got to repair places that are not repairable, order the people to evacuate, and the people come back and their house is blown away. We think that's foolishness. We think that we ought to be trying to save those houses, let the people evacuate, but have them come back to a house with the furniture in it. Our aircraft can carry over 400 cloud seeding units. Now, those back in Project Storm Fury days could only carry 52. And the fact that we fly 2.5 times as fast and we know exactly where we are all the time, we feel like we have a much better opportunity, or better chance of reducing these hurricanes by even more than they were able to in Storm Fury. Number one, we would have attacked Katrina before she passed the southern tip of Florida, coming across the Gulf of Mexico, because there were a lot of people, or a lot of lives at stake there. We may not have done anything with Katrina until she got out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. But from then on, and I mean the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, I'm talking about to the eastern edge of the oil production. When it got close enough to do damage to the oil drilling and producing platforms, we would have started working on Katrina right then, and we would have seeded those energy cells in there based on data from the satellite information. We would have picked the energy cells in that storm, and at least every 12 hours we would have been out there seeding those energy cells. Well, the problem we have right now is that while we have contacted every senator in the U.S. Senate, all 100 of them, we've had one mediocre response from one of them. you get the impression that they just don't care what happens about the hurricanes. And we have presented a proposal to them to do hurricane damage reduction for the year 2006, and it amounts to around $6,000 a month. But we have enough airplanes, we have enough people in our company that we can do that. We need to be out there seeding these hurricanes, and if we don't get the results that we think we're going to get, then we can say we're not ready for it. But that's not going to be the case.
Hello, my friends. It is November 16th, 2005. You want solutions, we give them to you. The federal government, Stanford Research Institute, and others successfully looked at the data that the Navy was able to engage in, the activities they engaged in back in the late 60s, and they were knocking out these hurricanes. That's proven. And it's simple technology. They go into the energy cells and they break them down. They slow them down. They make them dump their water into the Atlantic, the Pacific, or the different bodies of water around the world, including the Gulf of Mexico. This is simple, 50-plus-year-old technology. Ben Livingston flooded North Vietnam. Ben Livingston is the father of using weather weapons. And going through the documents, I mean, top meteorologists, people who are the pillars, the base of meteorology, say that this is real, this works. So next time a hurricane is barreling towards Louisiana, New Orleans, Houston, areas of Texas, Tampa, Florida, ask yourselves, why don't they have planes out there knocking out the energy cells that drive the hurricane? This is very simple technology. People can debate all day whether they've got ionizing systems and weather modification and all these third-generation systems, all this high-tech stuff. Clearly, I've seen the patents. Clearly, it's there. But this proves that with ancient technology, 50 years is ancient in the modern scale. Technology doubles and computing power doubles every 2.5 years, roughly. This is ancient technology. This works. There are scores of companies that go around the world controlling and modifying the weather on a local scale. This is real. The science is demonstrated and proven. And we're talking about $200 billion for Katrina and Rita. $200 billion. Total devastation of 500-year-old communities like New Orleans. This is serious business. And it's money you're going to be paying for a long time. But Ben Livingston, who was at the highest levels of the federal boards running these operations, told us in radio and TV interviews, he openly said that the federal government doesn't want to stop hurricanes because they can just hand out hundreds of billions of dollars and get more federal control. They actually make money out of these disasters by giving it to their partners, to their buddies, to their friends. This whole crony system we're facing. So that's why we put this little piece together, and we've got about 5 hours of video. In an upcoming film in the future, we're going to have a film about weather control and weather weapons and look at all the new high-tech systems, not just the low-tech that's been confirmed. But if you know that they can control and reduce hurricanes, why aren't they doing it? That's admitted fact. Then we can debate about what's coming in the future or other secret systems. All right. Here for the next 30 minutes are Steve Watson and Paul Watson, and they're here from the United Kingdom. And these are good guys. They run PrisonPlanet.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. We write articles every day, and they post the news and post your emails and take all your questions and comments. And Steve lives in London, and Paul lives in Sheffield. And Paul's been involved in politics for a long time since he was very young, and Steve's got a master's degree in political science. And we look at the false left-right paradigm. We try to expose it. First off, guys, good to have you here.
Nice to be here, Alex.
You bet. And I have to mention, Steve's got a cold tonight, but he's still here in studio. Be with us. And Paul?
Good to be here.
Paul, good to have you with us. Guys, a lot has happened, but in a nutshell, what is the New World Order? What is this global system we're facing? Paul, give the folks your take on what we're fighting as humanity.
New World Order is an international gang of criminal elites. Their forte is torture, dominating populations, enslaving populations, erecting police states, and hoodwinking the people into electing those very police states that the natural urge of liberty should reject, and they've been masters of that over the course of the past few hundred years, to where we are, the situation nowadays where it's a high-tech police state. The high-level grade of the propaganda is so intense on one level and yet so simple on another that it's hard to differentiate between the two and try to explain it to people who are locked in different paradigms of the liberal and the conservative consensus. So that's our goal, is to wake people up to the fact that the paradigm itself is a fraud and that they're using it to make us advocate and vote for our own enslavement.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.